we live in the age of information, the age of technology. I tell people so many times, I get in a lot of conversations or debates with people who are so stuck on what they know because it's been so indoctrinated in them that even researching or actually finding facts and truth that speak opposite to what they believe, they choose to say, oh, well, I've been there, like, oh, yeah, well, it's still this either way, even though when the truth is facing them right in the face, one of the biggest things, I grew up in Southern California. Let me start there. I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in San Bernardino, California on the west side. You know what I mean? Just a Chicano from the west side, I grew up in the streets, gang banging, doing all that stuff, jail, prison. No, I ain't no dropout, GP all the way, But I started really diving deep into political studies while I was in prison. I think everybody has gone through that phase of reading, Beyond a Pale White Horse and, what are some of the other books that they have out there, Secret Destiny for America by Manly P. Hall, The Reptilians. There's Book of Five Rings, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. I could keep going, 48 Laws of Power, The 50th Law, you know what I mean? Like there's so many books and studies that you start diving into political strategy, warfare strategy, economic strategies that you're reading and you're diving into. And one of the things that I started diving into deep was, the Brown Berets. It really intrigued me because, Cheyenne, anybody who knows anything about, I will say the Mexican street law, right? The brother Cheyenne, that was one of the things that he was a member of the Brown Beret. You know what I mean? And one of the things that he was so gung-ho for was the unifying of quote unquote and so-called black and so-called brown. He didn't want us fighting with each other. The goal was that nobody was supposed to be in prison. Nobody was supposed to be doing these things that degraded us. You know what I mean? Because we were proud. We were a proud people. You get what I'm saying? The first president of Mexico, Guadalupe Victoria, I believe, had African ancestry. You get what I'm saying? The second president of Mexico, Vicente Guerrero, not only did he abolish slavery in Mexico, which, slavery there was already in the Constitution of 1821, right? The Mexican Constitution of 1821, there was already a clause, right, where they said, all slaves in Mexico will be free by their 14th birthday. What Vicente Guerrero did is he came in, he said, do away with that Constitution, throw it out the door, no more slavery, right? So there's a lot of people who don't know that Mexico's history and Africa's history are intermingled and intertwined with each other. If we are proud to be Chicano, we're proud to be Mexican, we should also be proud of our African ancestry as well. Not taking or anything from anybody. You know what I'm saying? But the way I grew up in California is there's a big divide, and as I've traveled the nation, it's throughout the whole nation. There's a big divide. And that's a divide that we have to stop. 100 years ago, there was no question that we had the same ancestors. You get what I'm saying? Marcus, it's no big secret that Marcus Mosiah Garvey was a friend of Pancho Villa, and Emiliano Zapata. You get what I'm saying? We know Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa came in contact with each other through one aim, one goal, one destiny. Isn't that the same thing that Marcus Mosiah Garvey said? They had one goal, and the goal was to liberate Mexico and to take back what was taken from Mexico. You get what I'm saying? And they did not succeed in doing that. That's why we have what we see today. You get what I'm saying? So, the thing is that we've been learning so much to hate each other. North, South, Sureño, Norteño, hating each other. Look, I'm the same as anybody else. You can never trust anybody who got on the stand and pointed the finger. You can never trust anybody who's telling. I'm 100% with that, with everybody else. But at the same time, like, How many people have to die before we realize that we all have the same blood flowing through our veins? How many people have to go and spend their life in prison before we realize that we all have the same blood flowing through our veins? We're destroying each other. We're destroying ourselves. It's time to wake up. It's time to unify, you know? And if I got to be the one at the forefront of all of this to try to make it happen, then that's what we got to do. Like I said, I've been diving deep into a lot of historical records, political history, not even just in the streets of California, but also beyond, you know what I mean? Bigger political sections and schemes and governments, you know what I mean? To where, you know, there was a time where there was empires, you know, and empires were many kingdoms or governments that made up one huge empire. Do you know that there was an empire that stretched all the way from Asia all the way down into these lands here, a whole entire empire? But we're never taught about that. We were never told anything about that. And it's your ancestors, my ancestors, who created that empire. They've been controlling the narrative. Don't let them continue to control the narrative on you. We're killing each other for what? We hate each other for what? We all have the same ancestors. It's time to wake up and do better.
I learned, in order to go to the places that you've never been,
Never was the greatest artist our race has ever produced.
and that brought me here. I learned that if I fall, make sure I fall on my back. Because if I can look up, I can stand up. Come on.
All my life I had the odds against me. Ever since I was a kid, there was a legend in me.
I knew it.
Didn't think that my story mattered.
I did.
Wanted to
I did it.
rewrite all the chapters.